The internet is full of lies, especially when it comes to jade. Online sources have promoted a number of myths about identifying natural jadeite with the intention of selling fake jade to customers as natural. Today, we're going to show examples of real and fake jade and explain the truth of how to tell the difference and how to make sure that the jade you're buying is genuine, natural, untreated, gluten-free jadeite jade. Welcome to Jewels of the Trade, the channel dedicated to educating customers with accurate information on jewelry and gemstones. My name is Jordan, and today we're going to explain at-home jade testing myths, treated jade and jade simulants, and the proper identification of natural jade. Let's start with 4 common myths for jade testing. Number 1, the cold test. A lot of people claim that if the stone is cold, it must be jade. Many gemstones are cold, and this method is unreliable. Even if jade were the only gemstone in the world that was cold to the touch, temperature still wouldn't distinguish natural from treated jade, which is extremely important. Many people believe that jade stays cold no matter what and won't warm up as you wear it. That's also not true. I wear jade all the time, and it definitely feels warm to the touch after I've had it on for a while. Number 2, the weight test. This one irks me. A lot of websites say to toss the jade in your hand and catch it, and if it's heavy, it must be real. What? How heavy? What if it's mounted? What if it's a small stone or a thin earring? Like, what kind of advice is this? Heavy is subjective. If you haven't held hundreds of pieces of jade, I kind of doubt you know what you're looking for. Are you gonna weigh it? On a scale? How much should it weigh? If you have to use some formula for advanced mathematics, wouldn't it just be easier to test it? Number 3, the UV test, or the blacklight test. There is some truth to this one, but be careful. Sometimes B jade, also known as acid bleach and polymer resin impregnated jade, will fluoresce under UV light. But as you can see here, these are all B jade, but not all of them fluoresce. Also, some natural jadeite has been known to fluoresce slightly. So if it's super fluorescent, that can be an indicator, but if it doesn't fluoresce at all, that doesn't really mean anything. Number 4, the look test. The internet claims you can identify real jade just by looking at it. Some fake jade does look super fake, but some fake jade looks real, really real. So I would say if it looks real, you need to do further testing, period. You can't just tell by looking without magnification. So it turns out identifying natural jadeite is sometimes more complicated than just look or feel. Before talking about proper identification, let's discuss what it is we're actually trying to identify and why the real jade versus fake jade issue is important. Jadeite jade is one of the toughest gemstones on the planet Earth. It's a beautiful stone with long-lasting, stable color. It's rare, valuable, and revered because of its exceptionalism. Natural jade, or A jade, came out of the ground that color. No dye, no tricks. B jade refers to treated jade that was acid bleached and then impregnated with polymer or resin. B jade, unlike natural jade, is very brittle, unstable, and has 5 to 10% the value of natural jade. C jade is old school. C jade refers to jade that has been dyed, and B plus C jade refers to jade that has been acid bleached, polymer impregnated, and dyed. Here are some pieces of B plus C jade. This is quite common. Again, it breaks easily, doesn't have stable color, and has very little value. It's usually sold as natural, and yes, it can come from China. So just because your jade is from China doesn't mean it's natural. Treated jade will test as jadeite on a refractometer, and it can look like high-quality jadeite. Even experts cannot be certain by eye alone whether or not a piece is A or B jade. They have to rely on advanced gemological testing. See this piece? It looks pretty good. But how do I know it's not natural? I'll get to that in a minute, so stick around. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to see more content like this. As for jade simulants, quartz is the most common and can look very convincing, although it's easily identified with standard gemological testing, which your local jewelry store probably offers. This is quartz. Quartz, quartz, aventurine quartz, chalcedony, that doesn't look right, but it's a type of quartz. Quartz, chalcedony, again, not very convincing. You might ask, why don't you use the scratch test to distinguish jade from its simulants? I'm glad you asked. Jadeite is a 6 to 7 on the hardness scale, hardness meaning resistance to scratching, and quartz is a 7, which means it's as high or higher than jade and definitely harder than steel. So, while a steel knife won't scratch jade, it won't scratch quartz either. And if it's neither and it does scratch, you may have ruined your jewelry. We talk about this in my video on jade roller testing. I'll include the link for you. I've prepared for you an assortment of real and fake jades. I know which ones are which. We'll walk through a number of tests you can do at home to find indicators of natural jade. Number 1, the ping test. Here are 3 bangles. 1 is natural jade, 1 is B jade, and 1 is something else entirely. Which do you think is the real one? Let's find out. Natural, unfractured jadeite jade has sonority, meaning the bangle will sing if hung on a string and tapped with a harder object. You can use a butter knife at home. I happen to have a real jade bangle on me that I'm going to use instead. This bangle did not ping. When Mason K Jade tested this bangle with infrared spectroscopy, they found it was B+C jade, meaning it's not natural jade. It has been acid bleached and treated. This bangle has the ping we're looking for. When Mason K Jade tested this bangle with infrared spectroscopy, they found it was natural, untreated A jade. But wait. This bangle pings too. Is it natural, untreated A jade? No. When Mason K Jade spot tested this bangle on a refractometer, they found it was quartz. Some quartz will ping as beautifully as jade. This means that the ping test is not completely reliable. And remember, only unfractured jadeite will ping, meaning that natural untreated jadeite jade that is fractured won't ping. But that doesn't mean it's not natural. While the ping test is an indicator, it's just that. My advice is to talk to your local jeweler about sending your jade bangle in to Mason K Jade for conclusive testing. Indicator number 2, the price. One of these pieces is natural untreated jade and the other is B+C jade. I'll give you a hint which one's which. This bangle costs $1,687 and this bangle costs around $300 on Etsy and was described as A jade. Well, let me tell you about a similar tricolor bangle that doesn't look much different from this, but sold at the Sotheby's auction in 2012 for almost $20,000. When Mason K Jade tested this bangle with infrared spectroscopy, they found it was B+C jade. Selling it as natural would be unethical. You can actually find similar looking pieces online for about $30. Number 3, cutting style. For cabochons, jade carvers try to make the best use of the rough. These cabs are flat on the bottom, which is pretty unusual for natural jade. Natural jade is usually kind of rounded on the bottom. This isn't always a sure thing, but it might give you a good feeling about whether the piece in question is real or not. This cab is B+C jade. None of the advice I just gave you tells you exactly how to test your jade at home. That's because while you can look for signs that it's real, it's actually very hard to be sure. Lean on the expertise of your local jeweler, who may recommend sending your piece in for advanced gemological testing to a trustworthy company such as GIA, AGL, or Mason K Jade. Mason K in Colorado is the leading natural jadeite supplier in the US and has been in business since 1976. They offer testing and valuing for wholesalers, retailers, and customers. Mason K is who supplied all of these pieces and made this video possible. Here are some examples of non-jade items. For instance, these are B+C jade. These are quartz. These are masitsit. Here is a natural jadeite ring next to a quartz ring. This pendant looks fake. Look at the splotches of color. It's B+C jade. Fine jadeite will have this gummy, translucent apple green color, but just know it's going to be very, very expensive. This example is considered imperial jade, and as you can see, it's incredibly gorgeous. It literally came out of the ground this color. That's natural, very rare. Natural jade can vary drastically in appearance as it comes in a multitude of colors and textures. And there are tons of treated jade and jade simulants on the market. At-home tests and even standard gemological testing may not be enough to distinguish A jade from B jade. So what if you're shopping? How do you know if the piece you want to buy is real? Get a report. Not just any report. For instance, here is a cert for a natural jade bangle that turned out to actually be quartz. Companies that offer trustworthy reports are GIA, AGL, Mason K Jade, and whatever lab your local jeweler might recommend. Don't be afraid to call the company that issued the report and cross-reference the report number with their records. Reports can be faked. Honestly, if you're shopping, look for a local independent jewelry store that is knowledgeable and sells jade either with a gem report or a guarantee from Mason K Jade. If you don't have a local jeweler in your area, you can shop directly with Mason K at mkjjewelry.com, and you can even get a discount if you use the code JOT for 10% off. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stick around on our channel and learn more about standard and advanced gemological testing with these videos here.